Coming to you from 8122 Production Studios in the heart of the 607, this is Horror Zone 607. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And remember, you can always join the conversation using hashtag HZ607. Welcome to Horror Zone 607, the podcast where we talk all things horror and bring you the week's biggest horror movie news. I'm your host, Mike C., back in the studio once again this week as it's almost fall. We got so much news to go over this week, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of cool stuff. But before we get to that, I just want to introduce my buddy here, the man that's in the studio with me every week. He's my co-host. He was once the Pink Power Ranger. Everybody say hello to Rich.
I was definitely the sexiest Pink Power Ranger as well.
Oh my God, no doubt.
That's just
no doubt.
And I usually am humble about these things, but I think that I should pat myself on the back for being the absolute sexiest Pink Ranger of all time.
Absolutely.
All time.
Absolutely, I agree.
Although that could be a horror movie in its own.
Yeah.
Me as the Pink Ranger.
We might be able to get that deal done.
I don't know if I want to put on the spandex.
I heard they're making another one.
Well,
it's time to get you back in the suit.
I just want to point out that they should probably stop making those dumpster fire of movies. I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I never had any interest in any of those.
No.
I know that's probably sacrilege to a lot of people listening, but it just wasn't my thing. But let's kick off the news this week since
Absolutely.
we do have so much to talk about. I would say the biggest thing that really hit this week was we heard some rumors a couple of weeks back that Paul Rudd was approached to play Tommy Doyle in the new Halloween Kills movie that's going to be coming out. We found out right away that although they approached him, he was unable to do it because he's filming the new Ghostbusters movie. I've heard mixed things. I've heard a lot of people say that he loved his time doing it. I read something the other day. Somebody said that he hated his time doing it and wanted nothing to do with it, and he distanced himself from it. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know that they did approach him. He can't do it because he's in Ghostbusters. But they did cast the character. They did cast Tommy Doyle. We know for a fact he's coming back. The great 80s icon, he was, as a teenager, was in The Breakfast Club, was in Pretty in Pink, I believe. He was in a whole bunch of movies. I could be wrong about Pretty in Pink. He was in Weird Science.
Yes,
I know that.
Ducky himself.
Yeah.
It's Ducky.
Anthony Michael Hall is going to be Tommy Doyle.
Ducky. And he was actually, I'm glad for him because originally, in the Batman movies, he was supposed to be Edward Nygma, a.k.a. the Riddler.
Really?
But then they retrocon that spot because when he was doing the TV, there was a TV spot where he was in, I do believe it was Dark Knight, and he's Edward Nygma, but then when it hit home video, it wasn't. This is one of those things where people are like, oh, it was just a Mandela effect, but no, it's been pretty much confirmed in the theaters that was who he was supposed to be. So, I mean, at least this time we know he's going to go to screen to be Tommy Doyle. I'm excited.
You know, I'm a little up in the air about this one. I don't know what to think of this. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine after this news broke. Here's my thing. Brian Andrews hasn't really done much since the 80s, and he was the original Tommy Doyle. Don't know what kind of an actor he has become or would have become. I don't really know. But I know he wanted to play the part again, and he was the original. Why not bring him back? Now, the other thing, Anthony Michael Hall, here's what my biggest issue is. He's a good actor. I like him. He was the original Russ from the National Lampoon's Vacation movies.
Yeah, that's true.
He's kind of done a lot of stuff, and it's not so much I have a problem with that, but he looks like he's older. He's actually younger than Brian Andrews by 2 years. But he looks like he's older than Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, he
hasn't aged well.
Here, man, but if you think about it, that's easy to explain in this movie. You were terrified as a child. I'm sure his adult life didn't get any easier. He probably turned to alcohol and all sorts of stuff.
I hope
just
so.
to cope with the fact that when he was a child, some maniac tried to kill him. And now he's going to have to stare down that barrel again? The question to me is, how long is he in the movie before he gets the...
Well, I guess we're going to find out. I kind of hope it's, I don't know. I don't know what kind of a role I want to see. I don't know if I want to see it be a long one. I don't know if I want to see it be a cameo. It was one of the things, and I've talked about this before, I believe on the show, we talked about it. I did feel like that was one of the things that was lacking in Halloween 2018 was, the nods to the original. There was no Myers house. Haddonfield was supposed to be there, but we saw a glimpse of it for a whole, 2 minutes while Michael walked through the town. Well, 5,000 people were in one tiny little block of a neighborhood trick-or-treating. There was no Haddonfield. I wish that they would have filmed things, for that scene in the original locations. I wish they would have had Tommy. I wish they would have had Lindsay.
You are just a wishful person.
Yeah.
Wishful person. Don't be wishful. Just enjoy what we have.
Well,
that's how I.
But I didn't enjoy the movie.
But that's why, because you had too many wishes. That's why you didn't enjoy the movie.
No, it just was not a good movie.
You could have if you could have the greatest movie ever made, and if you have a ton of wishes attached to it, it'll never be great. You have so high expectations. Put it this way, I don't care who plays Tommy Doyle. After we knew it wasn't going to be Paul Rudd, my expectations went. Because honestly, that's the only person I really wanted to see do it. So after that, it's like I don't give a damn who they cast as Tommy Doyle. It'll just be a body in a Halloween movie. There's no way he's going to make it. You might make it maybe past Halloween Kills into Halloween Ends, maybe. But at some point in juncture, he's going to be gone. And I'm assuming it'll be in Halloween Kills. Just throwing it out there.
I hope that doesn't happen. Little Tommy Doyle should survive. He was a hero.
No.
He was a victim, but he was a hero. I want to see
By the way,
him.
these are the women empowering Halloween movies. So therefore, all the men must die.
Yeah,
men
you're probably
must
right.
Die.
You're probably
Think
right.
about it, there was one woman who died. No, three, because they're the two in the long elongated scene. That was it. You had two there plus the
one babysitter.
podcaster. Oh, and the babysitter. I forgot about the. So 4 women died.
She was hot.
She was hot. But
I would have given her a hug and then a ride home.
Four women died in all of Halloween 2018. Nothing against it. Nothing against it. And they deserved it. Because that doctor deserved what he got.
Dr. Sartain was no good.
He deserved what he got. He even stole a kill from Michael. Think about it, the sheriff.
Yeah.
That should have been a kill for Michael.
Yep.
Nope.
That was unexpected.
Thieving. And then we had the pumpkin head. The cop.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, and I have nothing against it. I don't give. I'm all for it. I'm also all for the idea of the Kane Hodder has been all about the wintertime all women Friday the 13th movie that he's behind. That a couple other somebody else was writing, but
I hope that'll happen too.
He was behind it. I'm behind it too because I want to see all the final girls back myself. But then they can't all be the final girl. They all got to die. That's how you end that. By the way, that's how you end that movie. Nobody lives, because then you'd have to have the ultimate final girl, and that's not. And here's how I would do it. Here's how, I know we're going off track to Friday the 13th, but I just wanted to throw this out there. This is how I would do it. Because they were final girls, we go cutthroat, and they end up helping some of the other ones die. So one pushes one in front of the other, like "F you, biatch."
They wouldn't be very good final girls all of a sudden.
No, but
turns out they're bad people.
Think about it. You want to be the ultimate final girl. It's like a competition at this point, juncture. Because why else are all of you there? The ultimate final girl.
No.
But think about it, they can't all live. So here's the way that you do it. They don't.
Unless they all show up in the last scene and they all have weapons and they take out Jason but
I don't know I don't know if I like that idea.
That wouldn't be fun.
That's like the Avengers.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't need that. I already have comic book movies and I love comic book movies, but I don't need that in a horror movie. I say you kill them all. Maybe have one last to the end, and you're like, "Oh, it's so happy."
It could be a heart-wrenching movie if they all go down.
And then it's like the Texas Chainsaw prequel.
Oh, jeez.
The prequel to the remake. You're like, "Oh man, she got away."
She got a saw through her
chainsaw
back.
through the back of the car. You're done. You're done.
Next movie.
Goodbye. Next one, and then we get hit up the next one, and we get a brand new final girl. She can be like queen of the final girls.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know why we diverted there, but I liked it, and if you guys like that idea, come to let us know. Tell Kane Hodder I'm available for all ideas and pitches.
We should talk to Kane Hodder. Maybe we can get him on the show.
Maybe, but
I doubt it.
I know I'm going to be trying to talk to Doug Bradley coming up here soon.
Wouldn't that be amazing if we get him on the
show? We will be in the same space at the same time as Scaricon this year.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I don't know. I'm hoping that'll happen. Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on that because he's going to be busy. He's kind of going to be the main attraction unless they announce more. But.
I'm sure they'll announce more. There's plenty of time. But yeah, I'm all in. So what else we got in the news, Mike?
All right, so more news. A lot of premiere news this week, or at least a few things anyway. Big stuff. The Purge Season 2 will be premiering on the USA Network on October 15th.
Absolutely. And it'll be dealing with what happens on the other 364 days between purges.
Yeah, and I dig that.
I'm a fan. Actually, some people are like, "Oh, but no purge." I'm like, "No, man, we get to see the aftermath of what we just watched on the first season." And I think that this is ingenious. I love the element of getting to fall in love with characters on the first season of the Purge, and this is going to even get you closer. So when season 3 rolls around and you're on Purge night again, it's going to get all crazy. I love it.
I wonder if they're going to tie in the other series at some point. I know it's going to be kind of more anthology-ish, but I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to bring them back at some point.
I don't know, but still, I love it. I love the idea. I can't wait to see it.
So first full trailer for American Horror Story 1984 hit this week. As we know, we had found out previously the premiere date on that is going to be on Wednesday, September 18th, so it's coming up soon, but kind of want to tie that in to the fact that the first actual trailer, because they've all been kind of teaser trailers, they weren't real, but the first trailer hit this week.
And some pretty awesome posters, too.
Yeah.
Because they had the one where the killer's under the bed, looking like he's about to take a chunk out of an Achilles tendon.
Right.
Well, we were differing opinions on this trailer. I enjoyed this trailer. I thought the trailer looked really good. I'm not saying that the season will be good because I've been let down the last couple of years of American Horror Story. However, this particular trailer looks promising. I like where we're at. I like where we're going.
It looks better than the last few seasons. To me, like as soon as it came out, I was kind of like, we had all those fun campy teasers, and I was kind of like, yeah, I know this isn't what it's going to be like, but I'm kind of hoping. And then that came out, and I was kind of okay, it's American Horror Story, but it had a little bit of camp to it. And if you're going to do a 1984 slasher set one, it's got to be campy. It's got to be.
And speaking
it's
of
got to
which,
be silly and not take itself seriously.
It's at a Camp Redwood, even.
Right.
It's campy at a camp.
Campy at a camp.
There's a big
now
pun there.
That should be a horror movie right there. Campy at a camp.
How do you feel about Mr. Jingles?
I don't have a problem with that.
I like how the fact that
Looks
he
a little
has
generic,
keys or whatever that jingle.
Yeah.
So it works out. I'm like, how do you sneak up on people?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a little generic. It looks like it's just kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer looking, kind of a slicker or a hoodie. I don't know. I don't know if
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I like it. I'll give it a shot, but there's a lot of room to drop the ball with this, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that's what they've done in the past.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
We'll find out. It could end up being the best season ever, and that's what I'm hoping for. I like that there's kind of a fresh cast with it for the most part.
Yeah.
A couple returning familiar faces, but more premiere news. We've kind of talked about it in the past. I'm a huge fan of the found footage film called House LLC that came out a few years ago. Our good friend, the Professor, he's the one that originally told me to watch that movie, and I was kind of like, okay, I don't like anything you like. You don't like anything I like. He's like, just watch it. I loved it. It's one of the best found footage films I've ever seen. The sequel wasn't so good. Wasn't great. It was filmed in the same place, but it was not done well. Although some of the scares were chilly, it didn't work for me. Well, there was a third one. We did announce this a couple months back. House LLC 3 Lake of Fire is coming. It will be premiering on Shudder, and we finally got a release date for it. This just hit today. It will be premiering on September 19th.
Ooh, just in time for the right time of year for horror movies. I love me some Shudder. I'm interested in seeing it. Hopefully it's not bad like the second one, but at the same time, it's a bonus to see we're getting another one at least.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'll definitely check it out. It comes the day after American Horror Story premieres, so we got a busy week that week. Halloween's coming early. The season's coming early that year. And then one more piece of news with premieres. We've talked about this a little bit before. We knew that what the premiere date was going to be on this one too, but Shudder, keeping with Shudder, Creepshow is coming. We've talked a lot about it on the show. We know it's going to be premiering on the 26th of September. What we did not know is that we kind of knew they were going to be premiering one episode a week, but it's going to be finishing up on Halloween. So it's going to be one episode every Thursday leading up to Halloween, and the season finale will be on Halloween night.
That's right. And also the fine people at Shudder sent an email out to all of us people who are subscribed to Shudder, and they have basically it's 3 of the episodes. I know we gave the episode names before, but they've given some synopsises with 3 episodes. And here's the 3 episodes in the synopsis. We have The House of the Head. It's Evie. She's The Walking Dead's Kaylee Fleming, discovers her new dollhouse might be haunted. That story is written by Josh Mallerman, who wrote Bird Box, and it's directed by John Harrison, who directed Clive Barker's Book of Blood. Next, and it's one of the ones that they first talked about, Lydia Lane's Better Half. A powerful woman, Battlestar Galactica's Tricia Heffler, denies a promotion to her protege and lover, but fails to anticipate the fallout. That story is written by John Harrison and Greg Nicotero and will be directed by Roxanne Benjamin, who did Body at Brighton Rock. And last but certainly not least in their release here, Gray Matter, Doc, Giancarlo Esposito, and Chief Tobin Bell check on Richie, an alcoholic single father, after encountering his terrified son at the local convenience store. That story was written by Stephen King and will be directed by Greg Nicotero.
Nice.
So it's pretty good stuff. And while we're at it, Shudder, we do a lot of plugging. If you guys are listening, we would love to be a podcast for you. Just throwing it out there.
I would do it.
I'm just putting it out in the universe.
I could clear my schedule for that.
So everybody, write into Shudder. Tell them that you want to hear Horror Zone 607 on Shudder, or at least getting plugs from Shudder. We're available for whatever. Just saying.
Yeah, right.
Just saying. I'll even
hashtag.
We want to be on Shudder. But here's the thing. I would even work for. I dare say I would work for just free Shudder.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm just saying.
You don't have to pay me.
I'm a cheap one. Yeah, I'm not even in the free. I think it'd be fun. But with that being said, we are going to wrap things up here in this first segment. First, I would like to remind you guys that we would like to hear from you and have you join our conversation. There's many ways you can do that. First of all, you can find us on Facebook, Horror Zone 607. You can find us on Twitter at Horror Zone 607. For all of our social media, use hashtag HZ607 to join our conversation. And on top of that, you can visit our website, 8122productions.com. While you're there, you can check out stuff from my other podcast, The Three Fat Nerds. We have Three Fat Nerds podcast. We also have 3FN Wrestling, the wrestling podcast, and of course, Horror Zone 607. All of it is right there at 8122productions.com. While you're also there, you can check out the reviews, including the professor's review of what was the movie you guys went to see?
That would be Ready or Not.
No. That's the movie we're going to review. Scary Stories to tell.
Scary Stories to tell us in the dark.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
See, I'm doing a bad job of this. You were supposed to be the host and dig me out of my own stupor.
It happens. I'm digging up more stories.
Nobody did a written Ready or Not. We will be doing Ready or Not in the final segment, talking horror.
Yeah, the professor did write one. He did write one, but he did it for his own blog, and he did tag it to our Facebook page. So he did write one.
Okay.
I was going to write one and had a busy birthday weekend.
That's fine. We all understand. You're getting old.
I turned 22 this weekend.
Yeah, sure. Add some years onto that. You're getting old and senile over here. Anyways, so you can find us there. So we're going to take a quick break before we come back with another news segment, because we have more in the news. During this break, though, you can find out how you can hang out with us in October for Sci-Fi Horror Fest. So we'll be right back. October 4th and 5th in Oneonta, New York, at the Oneonta Foothills Performing Arts Center, we present Sci-Fi Horror Fest 2019. This year, we have celebrity guests from Children of the Corn, Courtney Gaines, from Night of the Creeps, Jill Whitlow, and from Ghost Hunters, the paranormal heartthrob himself, Dustin Pari. Also, we'll have other guests and vendors, and so much more. You can get all your ticket information at sci-fi-horrorfest.com. It is $10 for the weekend, $6 for one day. And we hope to see you in Oneonta on October 4th and 5th for Sci-Fi Horror Fest.
And welcome back to the Zone. So we have more news this week. We love having multiple segments of news. It's always a good week when we have a lot to talk about in the news here. So wanted to bring up in a quick filming here. I didn't expect it to be done so quickly. Chris Rock's Saw wrapped up this week.
Yeah, well, it's staying true to the Saw movies, and it's wrapping quick. Usually they shoot those rather quick, 30 days or less. I don't think they've had a really long production time on any of the Saw movies.
And you would think they would with the set pieces and the traps, how elaborate some of that stuff is. You think that they would go a lot longer.
Well, it's crazy. They filmed the whole entire first movie for I think it was like $15,000. It was something ridiculously low. And they filmed it all from one building. Like literally everything was shot in that building, including driving scenes. They were just people shaking a car. I'm not even joking.
I didn't know that.
No, you didn't? I swear to God.
Usually that's kind of stuff that I research.
Yeah,
and I never
I swear to God, that was while the first movie was shot. Mind you, they had Carrie Elwes and Danny Glover in the first one.
Yeah.
And somehow still shot that movie. It was like $15,000 or $20,000. It was cheap as hell. And they did it all in one building, and they did it in less than 3 weeks.
And you know what's kind of impressive about that? Although he wasn't in it as much, he was just kind of in the last scene there, but Tobin Bell had been around forever. He'd been in a lot of movies. He kind of pops up in old movies that you see from time to time, but that's kind of what really launched him into the horror You know, I didn't even know who he was. I'd seen him in movies, but I didn't know who he was. He was just kind of a character actor.
No, I love it. It was great.
But yeah, it did wrap filming. So it's going to be in theaters on May 15th of 2020. Still no word if Tobin Bell will be in the film or not. So it might be kind of a surprise if he shows up.
Stay tuned. I'm sure he will be.
I kind of have a feeling if it's going to be some sort of a, you know, if it's going to be in canon with the other ones, he's got to be.
Well, that's what they said. It's not a reboot. It's just a sequel. I'm assuming at the very least something audio or video that he left behind for somebody. Because, I mean, obviously he is dead, as we know. But
right.
But that doesn't mean he can't make, you know, the Randy from Scream video.
True.
Play this when I die.
What if it turns out to be a prequel? You never know. That series is notorious for kind of going back and forth and messing with you, so it could end up being a complete prequel. Although we really know most of his backstory. I don't know what more they could possibly do, but
yeah, because you couldn't go back far enough where it would make sense for Chris Rock to be Danny Glover at a younger age. Because that would be where I would go with a prequel. But Jigsaw wasn't around for that long.
Right.
Like Jigsaw was, you know, he didn't start killing until he was older because he was, you know, terminal.
Right.
So it's kind of strange that you wouldn't be able to get away with that, which is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a story where like Jigsaw had started before and when he was like in his 20s, then you could probably get away. Not maybe, you know, because I mean, it's not like Chris Rock's super young, but I mean, Danny Glover is, you know,
he's got
about 20 years older than Chris Rock.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. In interesting news, you know, this is nothing that was, it's not announced or anything like that, but there was a really good article that BloodyDisgusting.com had up this week. Devon Sawa, who's kind of disappeared from the face of the earth over the last 20 years. Devon Sawa, who of course was very popular in the 2000s. He was in the original Final Destination. He was in a couple of other movies, a couple like teen stoner movies. But
I was gonna say he was going to be the next It teen guy.
Kind of seemed that way. You know, as a younger kid, when he was like a teenager, he was in a couple of movies that were like for kids and whatnot too. But he was Casper. In the original Casper.
Yes.
So he was in a lot of those things, but he was in an awesome movie that we don't talk enough about on this show called Idle Hands. It was a horror comedy that was amazing.
Dark comedy. It had Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
It had Seth Green. It had a great cast of young actors at the time. Yeah. So
yeah.
It was good. I loved it. It was about Devon Sawa has his hand becomes demonically possessed. So his hand does whatever his hand wants to do, including, you know, trying to kill people, actually killing people. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it kills people.
It kills people, and then he gets a slick idea to cut it off, and it just keeps
running around. It's almost like the Addams Family, you know, little hand that's running around, and it just keeps killing people.
Yeah, it's kind of
sharpens its fingernails in a pencil sharpener. So awesome movie, one that we should really talk a lot more about.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's really funny. I dig it. Check it out. If you haven't seen Idle Hands, check it out.
Yeah. So he did an interview this week where somebody asked him, you know, what movie would you like to do a sequel to? And he said that the one that he would really love to do would be Idle Hands 2. Nothing's in the works for it. He doubts that it's going to happen or anything like that. But if they were to come to him and ask him to do it again, he said he'd love to do it.
Presumably his other hand becomes demonically possessed and he has to chop that off so now he just has two nubs.
That could be.
He's like the Luke Skywalker of horror movies.
Right.
Or somebody else has it happen to him and he's like the grizzly vet.
Right.
Yeah.
The grizzly young veteran.
Yeah. Well, he's not too young now. He's old enough to be the grizzly vet.
He's about my age, so
yeah. So he's old enough to be the grizzly vet.
He's 22 also.
Yeah, sure.
But he did say the original one he thought broke about even at the box office, so he doesn't see it happening. But it was an interesting article, and I'd love to see a sequel to it. It was a great movie, especially if you could get Seth Green and Eldon Henson back as his two little lackey buddies there that were dead. So it'd be awesome. Henry Thomas has been cast to be in The Haunting of Bly Manor, so he will be returning to the Haunting of Hill House series on Netflix.
Yeah, good stuff. I was a big fan of his in The Haunted in Hill House. He's a great character. I can't wait to see him what he does here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that series. I can't wait for that to come out. Stinks that it's going to be another year before we see it.
Yeah, unfortunately. But you know what? To keep hope alive. There's a lot to watch in between then.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out this year. So, you know, next year we'll have that. We'll have the new Halloween film and God only knows what else. So
there's tons of stuff coming. There's the new horror movies coming out all the time. It's a great time to be a horror fan. Let's just be honest. I mean, we got a big one coming up next week. It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
The 6. Boom. It's here. It's already upon us. We've been talking about it forever. It's already upon us.
Yeah, it almost doesn't seem possible that it's here.
Next week, we can even do a little bit of our preview takes before it. Because this show will be out before the movie's out.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do our little preview takes and see what we think about it. And then, of course, do a review the following week.
Right.
Or even a special episode. Maybe I'll plug something else and then in between.
Maybe.
A little tease there.
Maybe. Another kind of cool story that just kind of came out here earlier today. Robert Englund, who's all of a sudden he's back in the limelight as Freddy Krueger, it seems like. Robert Englund in the cast of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, which is my favorite sequel. That's still my favorite sequel. New Nightmare, I love that too. But, you know, Dream Warriors is very popular. I think most fans of that series really, really dig that sequel.
Are you sure you don't prefer Freddy's Dead?
There it is. There it is.
It was too easy this week.
It wouldn't be an episode without it.
It was too easy this week. You laid that one right out there, lobbed that one right in.
Yeah, you know
for
what?
For me to hit that Freddy's Dead home run.
When I put this on the list of things to talk about this week, I should have seen that coming, and it didn't even occur to me.
And I didn't even I let you go through the production meeting not mentioning Freddy's Dead just so I could do it here. Just so you wouldn't retract so I could still bring it in.
I was surprised. It surprises me every time.
Booyah. But no, I will say this. Dream Warriors is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Of all of them?
Out of all of them.
Over the original?
Over the original.
Oh.
Over the original. And I'm going to tell you why.
I would like to hear why.
Because the original is the movie that I credit for why I love horror movies. I was terrified of it. But as I got older and I watched it again, I didn't find it that terrifying. It's there's things that he did in the original that made Freddy almost cartoonish. Like, he had not perfected the walk. He had not perfected the movements. And that's fine. Don't get me wrong. But if you watch that, a lot of times he looks like a tiny janitor chasing people.
Well, he kind of was.
Right. But think about it. In the other movies, he looks so much larger. Like, he learned how to make his presence. Because there's the scene where he's chasing Amanda Wiss's character.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street, when there's the scene there and he's chasing her through the alleyway, and he does. It looks like he's like Warwick Davis running around with a glove on. I'm being serious. Like, it's not really scary. He looks like a perved out janitor chasing somebody, but who's only like 5 foot tall.
Right.
And so when you watch it again, it's just kind of, and I'm not taking away from that movie because somebody could probably think I am, but that's why it doesn't scare me as much. Now, I'm not saying 3 is scary. It has its moments, but 3
it
also
evolved by the third one.
Right.
So,
but here's the thing: he does a great job of playing Freddy in that. Like, that's the Freddy that we all remember now is started in 3. Mm-hmm. It was right then and there. There was the sense of humor, but it was still evil as hell.
Right.
I mean, there was no. It was still very mean spirited, but the sense of humor was there. Also, it is the only cast, I dare say, in all of the movies that I gave a damn about the characters.
Oh yeah.
Because even in the first one, like, Glenn was a douche.
Yeah, he really kind of was.
Let's be honest, he was a douche.
Yeah.
Like, in Heather Lane Camp, she was all whiny and stuff. Like as far as a final girl, and I know that sometimes I put her on that list because she did go one-on-one with Freddy. But at the same point in juncture, she was super whiny and annoying. Like, you were waiting for her to die in 3. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. But
although I did think the character was stronger in the third one.
She was. She was definitely stronger. So it made you like her more in the third one, which is weird because I didn't like her in the first one.
Right.
And then you have, like, the rest of the cast, though. You felt for them. Like, it was the only cast in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie that I felt for, and to this day is the only cast. Because honestly, none of the other ones I was like, and especially Freddy's Dead. Because we're not even going to jump into how throwaway the characters in that movie were.
What about Freddy's Revenge?
That was veiled. There's a lot of veiling in that.
Yeah.
It made sense to me. If you ever watch the documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street, it'll make sense to you why the movie is the way it is.
Right.
When you hear about, the creating process of that movie.
Right.
Honestly. And I'm not taking any shots at anybody. I just think it explained everything I needed to know about it.
Right.
But there's no other movie because 4 characters fall apart. I don't like any of the characters. At 5, I'm just like, by 3 is the only time that I wasn't rooting for Freddy.
Right.
Like, I legit was rooting for the kids to beat his ass. Even to this day, when I know what's going to happen, I'm still rooting for him. I'm rooting for the wizard kid in the wheelchair. I'm rooting for the badass chick that is a heroin addict. I'm rooting for Ken Sagos because I've met him, and Kincaid is amazing. And he'll be at this reading that you're talking about, so that's even better because I love Ken Sagos.
So I didn't even get to that yet. So,
by the way, check his, he has a charity out type in, look him up online and follow his charity. His charity is amazing. They give money for school supplies and all sorts of stuff for inner city kids. It's wonderful, and he's a wonderful human being. Met him at ScareCon last year, and I was honored to host the Nightmare on Elm Street panel. I know I've said that ad nauseum, but in this case, I get to at least plug him. But yeah, amazing. So continue on about this.
Yeah, so this is really cool news. So the cast of Dream Warriors, it's actually most of them. There's a few. Ken Segoes is actually not one of the people that's going to be there. But
what?
But
how are you going to read this without him?
There's more. But wait, there's more. So they're going to be performing a live reading of the script of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, live in Los Angeles on Sunday, September 8th at 1 p.m. at the world-famous Whiskey A Go-Go. So here's basically what's going to be happening with it. Again, most of the original cast is going to be there. Some of the people that, have gotten bigger, what was her name? The one that played the main girl in the third movie with the blonde hair. Patricia Arquette.
Patricia Arquette, yeah. No,
sorry, I'm completely having a brain lapse.
She's distanced herself real quick from all that.
Yeah,
she didn't even come
she's
back
kind of made
4.
it big. She got, nominated for an Academy
Think
Award.
about it. She didn't even come back for 4.
Right.
They had the body double pretty much.
Tuesday night.
That got killed in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah, that was one of the things that really bothered me about part 4, just how throwaway that character was and how easily she was killed off. That was kind of to me even just as bad, if not worse, than where they killed off Rachel in Halloween 5 so early on in the film. Those two things kind of to me are kind of intertwined a little bit. But most of the original cast will be there. Heather Langenkamp will be there. Ira Hayden, who played Will. Other returning players will be Rodney Eastman, who was Joey, Bradley Gregg, who played Philip, Penelope Sudro, I hope I pronounced that name right, who was Jennifer, and Brooke Bundy, who was Mrs. Parker, and of course Robert Englund.
Of course, the character who plays Joey doesn't have a lot of lines.
No.
He doesn't talk for
He doesn't talk much. But additional roles are going to be played by actors from the Elm Street legacy, including Amanda Wyss, who you are very, very familiar with.
Yes, I also was on a panel with her. She's amazing. I love her.
Tuesday Night, who played Patricia Arquette's character in part 4. Yes, she will be there.
Is she going to be playing Patricia Arquette's
She may very well be. I mean, it would make sense if she would be.
Me, yeah.
Brooke Thies, who was in The Dream Master. She was in part 4.
That's 4, yep.
As well. So she's going to be there along with other quote-unquote friends of the series. So it's going to be narrated by the director of Dream Warriors, Chuck Russell.
Okay.
So it's kind of a cool thing.
That sounds awesome.
Thing. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area, check it out. I guess tickets are going quickly, and there's not very much left. They're very limited. So I don't know. Pretty cool thing. I would assume
so. That's pretty awesome.
So I wish we were closer because I'd like to see that.
Absolutely.
And to round out the news this week, we're going to be talking a lot more about this in our final segment. But the big movie that came out last weekend, Ready or Not, did okay at the box office. It had a $6 million budget. It made $10.6 million in its opening week. It did open several days earlier than it was supposed to. So to me, it's a little disappointing, although they seem to think that it did really well for what it was. It's going to be heading... They needs to make, I believe they said 20 to 25 million worldwide to recoup its budget. So I don't know. It should get there.
I'm sure they'll make it there.
It should get there.
I went to see it last night with my son last night, which is Tuesday, obviously, because we record on Wednesday. And the theater I was in, there was at least 20 people in.
Really?
So that
people are still going then. So that's good.
Going.
That's good.
On a Tuesday night of 20 people, on a Tuesday night at a 7:40 showing, if there's 20 people in the theater, it's not doing too bad. I'm just throwing it out there.
I did see an updated figure here. It looks like worldwide box office, it's made $13 million. So it's not great, but for what looked to be a pretty big horror movie coming out, and what was an excellent movie, which again we'll be talking a lot about coming up in the next segment. But hopefully we'll get a sequel out of it, or so. Although I don't think it needs one.
No, I don't think.
I don't know that I want to see one, but they're talking sequel.
We'll get into that in the next next segment. I don't want to dive too deep into it right now because we'll definitely be diving into it in the next segment. I just wanted to end out the news with a couple news items that I have as well. We just watched this. There has been a trailer for a new movie called Antrum, the deadliest film ever made. Antrum. Sorry, Antrum. See, it's just
we were talking about this before the show. I'm here for you.
Okay, Antrum, the deadliest film ever made. Like I said, by the way, there's a cool little side note to this one as well. Basically, check out the trailer. The trailer's really good. It's actually on our Facebook page, Horizon 607, and there's some mythology behind this. So much like are, the Blair Witch Project. They had a mythos. So here's the mythos behind the movie. The Heart of Antrum is the titular cursed feature which purports to have been shot in the late 1970s by unknown filmmakers. It spins the tale of two siblings who perform an occult ritual in the woods, seeking closure after the death of a beloved pet. But their seemingly symbolic act may have truly unleashed hell on earth. As rumor has it, this film vanished shortly after its completion, along with the original creators, until a surprise screening during a film festival in Budapest in 1988. Not only did the theater reportedly burn to the ground, but several festival programmers later died under mysterious circumstances. The film was thought to be lost until many years later when a print was allegedly exhibited in San Francisco. The showing took a horrific turn when a full-scale riot broke out in the theater. Amid the chaos, the last known print of the film went missing. It was considered a lost once again, and its deadly reputation returned to the domain of myth and mystery. The legend is expanded by documentary bookends on the lost film's shadowy origins, its deadly history, and the path to its ultimate rediscovery. But outside the film, even the actual directors are shrouded in mystery. And of course, according to the trailer, it's claimed the lives of 60 plus people.
Wow. That really is the deadliest movie.
So I told you it was a little fun thing here for us on the East Coast. So this will be released on VOD services in fall of 2019. There's no date, but there is one date that is kind of interesting. This, before it comes out, it will be making an indie film appearance at the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival on Thursday, September 26th at 10 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Film Freeway for only $10. So, I don't know. If I have some time, maybe I might go to Philly to watch this movie.
It might be worth it.
It might be, because it looked pretty cool. And
if nothing else, you can run up the Rocky steps.
And as you guys know, here on 8122 Productions, we have a wrestling show. Yes, that's right. 3FN Wrestling from the Three Fat Nerds. That I host that show. And we sometimes tie wrestling and horror somehow. I mean, Bray Wyatt's been a big one for us lately, because I know Mike's also a fan, and Bray Wyatt's in there. But this is not about Bray Wyatt. No. This is about a very famous wrestler named Phil CM Punk Brooks. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, or actually I think it was a few weeks ago, that he was going to be in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And now we get the trailer for it. It's called Girl on the Third Floor. And I want to tell you, this trailer is effed up.
Yeah.
And I am actually kind of intrigued to see this movie, believe it or not. One of those, it stars Trista Dunn, Alyssa Dowling, Sarah Brooks, and of course, CM Punk himself.
Yes.
This movie will hit theaters and digital platforms on October 25th. Check out the trailer. The poster actually looks really cool too. I'm showing Mike.
That is a cool poster.
And check out the trailer as well. The trailer, I promise you, is really screwed up. You don't have to be a fan of wrestling. Trust me, this is a straight horror movie. And it's not a WWE production or anything like that.
It's not.
This is actually just an indie film. It looks super good. I just wanted to give it a plug, not just because of that, but it does tie in with the fact that we do wrestling as well.
Absolutely.
So we are getting ready to take our final break. And so coming back, we'll be talking horror. In Talking Horror, we'll be doing a review of Ready or Not.
Can't wait.
But before then, you can take a listen to one of our sponsors where we'll be here, just like the other one. This time it's Scaricon. We'll be at Scaricon. So check out Scaricon, and we'll be right back. Join us October 18th, 19th, and 20th in Rochester, New York at the Rochester Riverside Hotel for Scaricon. This year we have a ton of great celebrity guests, including Barbara Crampton, Felissa Rose, Ashley Lawrence, David Naughton, the cast of Terrifier, the 40th anniversary of Phantasm, and of course Pinhead himself, Doug Bradley, will all be there. All of them plus so much more. There will also be vendors and all such sorts of other great entertainment going on that weekend in Rochester, New York. For all tickets and other information about Scaricon, go to Scaricon.com. And we'll see you in Rochester on October 18th, 19th, and 20th. All right, it's time to talk some horror, and the Talking Horror segment this week is actually sponsored by the Podcoin app. If you don't know what the Podcoin app is, I'm going to explain it to you. See, the Podcoin app is a new app where you can actually earn money or earn stuff to donate to charity just by listening to the podcast you already listened to. That's right, simple as that. You just have to listen to this show and other great shows, and you can earn gift cards to Amazon or to Chipotle or to Starbucks, or there's a ton of them, or you can donate that to charity, even if you would like to, which is pretty cool on its own. The Podcoin app can be found in the App Store on both Google, Android, and iPhone devices. So that's pretty cool. You can download it anywhere. And all your podcasts are there. Horror Zone 607 is there. Three Fat Nerds podcast is there. Our friends at the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, ODPH, are there. Plus, even big, huge podcasts like Joe Rogan podcasts and the such are all there at your fingertips on the Podcoin app. See, signing up is simple. All you do, download the app from the App Store, and then it asks you to sign up. You put in your email address, you put in a password, and then there is a part where it says referral code. And guess what? We have a really cool referral code for you. You know what it is? Our referral code is HZ607. There you go. HZ607 in the referral code area. And guess what you get? 300 bonus coins just for using that referral code. It helps us. It helps them. And you're off to a great start. And then you can earn for just listening to the podcast you're already listening to. So I've switched over to listening to all my podcasts on the Podcoin app because, hey, I'd like to earn some stuff while I listen to all the great shows that I like to listen to. You should think about it as well. So they're sponsoring us. So thank you once again for sponsoring us as well. So now that I've got the business end out of the way, let's talk about Ready or Not. That's right.
Let's do.
I'm going to tell you how this conversation is going to go. So we are going to do a first few minutes of this, however long it takes. We're going to kind of give us our little synopsis, spoiler free, and give you our rating of this movie. And all of it will be spoiler free. And then after we do that, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 spoilers, and then we're going to have a conversation that will have spoilers in it. So if you haven't seen the movie already and you want to see the movie, that is the time to kind of hit pause, go see the movie, and then hit play again after you see the movie, and you can hear our opinion on it. If you've seen the movie, or you don't care to see the movie, or you just want to hear our take even before, or if that's what might sell you to go see the movie, then go ahead and listen, but you've been warned. That's how we're doing it. So also, we've talked about in the future on the Three Fat Nerds podcast, which is also 8122 Productions, that because we have a little lowbrow humor on that podcast, we've talked about, some of the times that we wanted to elaborate on things that we can't because of, we don't want to get banned from every podcast provider known to man. We were talking about doing like a Patreon, not to make a ton of money because we were going to do it for like $1 for subscribers. But that way, at least behind the paywall, we won't get kicked off of anything. If that would interest any of you, because 8122 Productions would be doing it as a whole, so that means Horror Zone 607 would be putting content up as well. If you would be interested in doing that, and maybe even I'll do some other like levels where maybe you get a shirt or something involved, just to kind of help support the podcast and give you guys some extra content that we're doing. If you'd be interested in that, hey, give us a shout out on any of the social medias. Let us know, because we just want to do it. We don't want to really do it for money, but if we can give you extra content that way, and maybe that would be where we would put the spoiler full reviews. Or maybe we could do it as specials even on the regular channel. I mean, either way in the future, but this one I didn't want to separate. So that's kind of why we're doing it this way. I just figured I'd give you a fair warning because I don't want to be that asshole who's like, hey, all of a sudden we're talking about points of the movie.
Right.
So this first little bit, like I said, will just be spoiler free. And then we'll let you know when the spoilers come in. And this will also include our grades for the movie. So the movie, Ready or Not, is a very, very interesting movie. I'm pretty sure you guys, if you haven't seen the movie already, or if you have, the trailers were very intriguing. On this show, we were very intrigued by the trailer when we talked about it, and we couldn't wait to see it. And to me, this movie played out very well. It was not what I expected, while being what I expected all at once. The most fair synopsis I can give to this movie, to put it into terms, mind you, it's its own thing. It's an original idea. It really is. But the closest thing I could do is I could say, if you took the movie Clue, remember the movie Clue?
Oh, yeah.
If you took the movie Clue and you mixed it with Your Next, this would be kind of that birth of that child.
That is funny that you say that because when I went to see this with the professor, and that was exactly what I said to him when we walked out of the theater. It was like if you married those two movies together, that's kind of what you had.
Really?
With its own original twist, of course.
And we did not talk about this.
No, we didn't.
No, it has its own. We'll get to that in the spoiler part, but it has a great twist. It is different than those. I'm just thinking it has a lot of cool comedy, kind of like Clue, and it feels old timey like Clue. And then at the same point in juncture, it has that killing field kind of vibe of Your Next, although Your Next was kind of had a lot of dark humor in it as well.
It did. Now, I was not a fan of Your Next whatsoever. I was very excited to see it. It was not what I expected. I've watched it several times just trying to like it.
Oh, this movie was way better than Your Next.
It was so much better than Your Next. So I just want to point that out. I'm not a fan of that movie. I loved this movie.
I'm just saying that this is the best way I could describe without spoiling.
I agree, though.
Without spoiling the movie is the best way I could describe it.
Right.
So basically you have Samara Weaving is your star of this movie, and she is the bride, and she's going to marry into this family, and the only caveat, I guess, after you get there, is that you have to play a game. This is all in the trailer, so it's nothing spoiling.
Right.
And so she draws the game. And we're not going to tell you about, if you want to hear, I'm going to go into the device in the spoiler part because I feel like that is a spoiler part.
Right.
But, they play a game, they pick the game, and then the game comes up as hide and seek. So here's one thing I will say without spoiling. I was trying to figure out that no matter what the game was it going to have a deadly? So if you played checkers, was it whoever lost died? I thought that's how it was. I'm glad it wasn't, because I was like, well, then how the hell would these people continue on? So here's the deal. If you drew the card and the card was checkers or chess, you just play checkers or chess or Old Maid, because they make that joke in the movie.
Right.
If it's hide and seek, it's the only one where there's death involved.
Right.
So it's to, and this isn't, without being a spoiler, it is to satisfy a debt, if you will.
Right.
So it's a debt that they have. So you've seen in the trailers, there are some comedy spots, which I really hated that trailer gave away some of the funnier tones of that movie.
Yeah, me too.
Because some of the funnier scenes were in the trailer, i.e. the two maids that get it in the trailer.
Right.
It's
that
in the movie, and
saved.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It still was funny. I knew it was coming because we saw it in the trailer, but it was still funny. And I'm like, and they added on to it. But I still wish they wouldn't have shown it in the damn trailer, because it was great.
It would have been more shocking.
But so the movie goes on, and of course, we go through the movie, all the trials and tribulations, everything you can expect. Will our hero make it out? Will she not? You know what I mean? And at the end of the movie, I felt like there was a bunch of different twists. It went one way, then it went back the other. It was like a zigzagging movie at the end, and I loved the way it ended.
Oh, I did too.
So let Mike talk about atmosphere and stuff. How did that tune in for you? That's your big thing. So how do you like the atmosphere,
perfect
soundtrack,
atmosphere,
et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, perfect atmosphere, perfect soundtrack for it. I thought the score was great. It added a lot of suspense, which I didn't expect to see. So there was a lot of great suspense along with amazingly funny comedy.
I need to find that hide and seek sign, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I need to find that.
Yeah, that was amazing. So I don't know, just the fact that this thing, this movie takes place in this huge mansion. These rich people that are, what are they like? It's a family of people that have like a history of, what are they like? They're almost like Milton Bradley. It's like the heirs to the Milton Bradley fortune, but they're not Milton Bradley.
The Ladomas. The Ladoma, yeah, it's like the
Ladomas.
Ladomas,
yeah, dumbass or something like that.
it's Ladomas. The Ladomas family, and they made their money in gaming.
Right.
That's what they made it in. So like originally
all kinds of board games and card games.
Well, the great grandfather did playing cards at first. That's where they made some of their money. Then the grandfather expanded that into like board games and stuff. And of course, the father at one point in juncture braggadocially talks about how he expanded into more board games and owning professional athletic teams.
Right.
So like it's kind of strange.
And they had all of those things, strewn around the house. So I love that. It was all incorporated into the different halls that they're walking down and the bedrooms, and there's just it kind of had that niche to it everywhere you looked, but it was just this grandiose place. I wonder if that was a soundstage that they built that house on, or if it was a real house they filmed it in, because it was amazing.
I wish I had the name of the house. I'm sorry I don't, but they filmed part of this movie in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and there is a castle in Toronto that has a really interesting story behind it. That's where they shot part of this movie. The other part of it was shot on a lot, and also the outdoor scenes were shot in North Carolina.
Okay.
So I know the where the site was. I wish I remembered what the name of the mansion was in Toronto that they did some of the interior stuff at. Sorry that I don't remember it, but yeah, they did it in Toronto.
Okay.
So it wasn't just I'm sure some of it was the set that they set up in North Carolina, but a lot of it was in Toronto, and the exterior was definitely in North Carolina in an old plantation home.
Okay. I can see that. So yeah. But I mean, it just, the game starts at midnight, and basically she has to survive until sun,
till dawn.
Yeah, until dawn, until the sunrise. So the fact that it takes place at night, it was very dark. There was a lot of like blacks and golds I noticed as a color scheme throughout the movie. But it's just so perfectly filmed. So much suspense. Again, I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be a lot more of just comedy in it, just based on the trailer and everything. But it had a lot of good horror in it.
Yeah, I was a big fan. A lot of gore.
Yeah.
Very bloody. It was more bloody than I anticipated.
Yeah, and I should have seen that coming based on the stills, the publicity stills for it coming out and whatnot.
And there was a couple scenes that made me squeamish. I got to be honest in this movie. There was like 2 scenes that kind of made me super squeamish.
There were, yeah.
Which is surprising because I was not expecting that from this movie.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
So I'm a big fan. So we're going to give it a rating, and then we'll be going into the spoiler thing because I think that I want to talk more about that.
Okay.
So my rating for this movie, I gave this movie a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Highly entertaining, super funny. It was gory in the right places. I would have given it higher. I mean, I could have given it higher, and I probably should have. But I, you know me, I'm usually a hard grader. But 6.5 to me is go see this movie in a movie theater all day, because this movie was amazingly good in a movie theater. Also, add this to your collection at home because I would love to see it. And as far as the sequel goes, and we'll probably go into more of this in the spoiler section, unless they make it like an anthology sequel, I don't see where you go from this story, because they kind of tighten it up, make it nice and closed there, unless they do anthology.
Right. They do talk about another family, and we'll get into that in the spoiler section, and I could see where they can maybe do a prequel or, another family that comes into what we talk about. But now, you also know, I think I'm a fair grader when it comes to movies, but I think that I'm notoriously, a little tough, on things. It is not easy for me to give a score above a 7 on a horror movie when I'm grading it, unless it is something else. I'm giving this movie, and I wish that I had taken the time. I wish I had the time to actually write a full review, which I may still get to get it up on our site.
Feel free.
But I'm giving this movie an 8.5 out of 10, and I nearly gave this a 9 out of 10. This is the most fun that I have had in a movie theater watching a movie in as long as I can remember. The closest that I could say I've had as much fun to this watching a horror movie in a theater would be maybe Hellfest, which didn't compare to this.
Right.
But completely different kind of movie. But this is an 8.5 out of 10. This movie is fantastic. This hit the spot. And I don't know that there's going to be, and this is including It Chapter 2, I don't know that there's going to be a better horror movie than this the rest of this year, maybe next year. This was fantastic.
Actually, I probably should say mine's a 7. Because, I want to give it the 6.5. 6.5 is what I gave Child's Play, which I was also very much entertained.
I was a little curious when you gave it
but
that. But
actually, I'll probably give it a 7 because it
bump it up
definitely
to a
was
7?
better. It was better than Child's Play. Well, you know me, I'm more of a technical person, and I don't believe in giving, put it this way, I don't believe in giving any movie a 10. I don't. I've never done it. So my scale is pretty much 9.
Right.
So if you think about it that way, it's pretty much an 8 on your scale.
Right.
If I give it a 7, because the reason why I say that is because I don't like the closest thing I've ever given to a 10, especially for a horror movie, is the original Halloween, and that's even still at like a 9.5.
Yeah.
The Exorcist is at a 9.5 because for some reason I can't. There's no such thing as a perfect movie.
Right.
You can come close, but in my mind I can't do it because I'm very analytical and I'm very technical in the numbers, and that's why I give them lower. So it's not necessarily this lower. That's why we came up with a different grading system for the Three Fat Nerds.
Right.
We have our 5-point system,
right?
Basically, so and if it's on my other show, this is definitely just Take My Money, which is our 4 spot.
Right.
So the next, it's not quite Certified Nerd, because Certified Nerd is the top tier, and that's just like the elite movies, like Endgame, Certified Nerd, stuff like that. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back is Certified Nerd. But this is Take My Money, which is great. Take My Money means go to the movie theater. That means see this movie. It means add it to your collection. This movie's super entertaining. So yeah, I will raise it to a 7 because now when I was thinking about it, I was like, I gave Child's Play a 6.5, and I like this way better than Child's Play.
Right.
But Child's Play was still entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
This movie, way more entertaining, way more funny, and way more gorier. So with that being said, I kind of want to dive in for a little bit on the spoiler side of things. So I'm going to say here, so if this is where we say goodbye, I'm sorry, put it on pause and come back if you want to see the movie. You should go see this movie. I can't
go see this movie
enough, and then come back and listen to what we have to say. If you've already seen the movie or you just don't care and you'll just listen to the spoiler section, we're about to start the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Spoilers.
Boom.
First thing, I thought it was interesting that it is like basically a pact with the devil.
Yeah.
So
and it had a bit of Rosemary's Baby in it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a box. So this is what we didn't tell you in the non-spoiler part. There's a box, and you put a blank card in this box, and the box chooses the game. So if the game is anything but hide and seek, it's just you play a game, you're part of the family. If it is hide and seek, that means you hide, the family gets weapons, which are old-timey, and they try to kill you. and they have to kill you because the pact with the devil is they need a human sacrifice when it says hide and seek, and if they don't, they all will die. That's what they believe, at least.
Right.
Okay. So in this movie, you find that out at this point when we get there.
Now,
and
of course,
she draws.
She does not know.
She does not know at all. So she draws the hide and seek, and she literally thinks she's playing hide and seek, and that's the best part because she gets bored with hide and seek real quick. She's hiding in a dumbwaiter for a minute, and then she just gets out. Because she's like, oh, this is boring. I'll just get caught. And that's when her husband kind of like grabs her and is like trying to forewarn her. And that's when the maid in the trailer, the first maid, gets shot in the head. And of course, she's gargling around on the ground. I want to point this out. She doesn't die right away. Graphic and good, but that's not the part that kind of anyway. The what was the guy's name? Is Mr. I can't remember the Mr. Was it Mr. Ledoux? Mr. the devil guy. Check into that real quick. I forgot the name of him, but he is. So you never see. Well, I shouldn't say never. You don't necessarily. He has his own chair. He has the box. That's who the grandfather. So you find out the story. There's the great grandfather. Sorry, figured out this box, makes a pact with the devil. Sorry, go.
It's LaBelle.
Mr. LaBelle. Sorry, yes, it was LaBelle. So Mr. LaBelle. It's his box. He met the great grandfather was on a merchant ship. He meets Mr. LaBelle. He's hanging out with him. He gives him this box. He says, if you can figure out this box, I will fund anything that you're part of and your family will be prosperous. He figures the box out, and that's how you find out what this is. When this movie opens with a soft open, you open with a sacrifice, and it's actually the aunt's husband who's getting killed 30 years prior.
And I just want to point out how awesome the aunt was.
By the way, the aunt looks horrible. She is like just mean and grumpy. When it looks like they're going to experience some coitus, and she's just in the room, and she's like, I hope you can hide better than that. Mind you, this is before the game. Like, the aunt is great, and she has this battle axe too. Right? She has a battle axe, and she chops some maid's head off. Like, because both maids that get shot, one gets shot through the mouth with an arrow from a crossbow, and the other one gets just shot with a derringer.
It was Aunt Helene, by the way.
Aunt Helene, yes, it was Aunt Helene.
I loved Aunt Helene.
Aunt Helene was great. So Aunt Helene then just chops the one lady girl's head off because both of them don't die. They're both like, and like she's trying to make a point when the one that gets shot with the crossbow, the second one, and she's trying to talk, and all of a sudden she's here.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it the sister that killed both of them by accident?
The cocaine sister.
The cocaine addicted sister.
She's like comes in, she's just snorting, and then at one point in junctures, you see her in the bathroom just taking a whole like huge line, and there's just coke all over the place. Oh, so
I gotta go check
crazy.
on this. I gotta go check on that, and then you see her snorting coke or doing
drugs. And of course, her kids are sleeping.
Yeah.
One of the kids shoots the bride in the hand.
Yeah.
And then gets knocked out for his. She just punches him.
She cold cocked him.
But that leads to the part that affected me. She falls into this pit that has like dead goats in it because they sacrifice goats. You find this out later,
right?
And then they throw them in this pit. And then there's also the dead body of the husband from 30 years ago in there. And then eventually there's the dead bodies of these maids, but not at this point. And as she's climbing out, now mind you, she's gotten shot through the hand. She's climbing out. That same hand, she's has to grab. She's going to slip and fall because the ladder is broke. She has to come up, and when she does, there's a nail, and you see the nail there the whole time. And you're like, you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. And she slams her hand right through what, thankfully, it was where the gun shot through, but still ripping into her hand.
Yes,
it was. Oh, and then she had to rip it out. I love it. And then she just yells at the kid again. That was one of the funnier parts. The other funny part is when, the other disturbing part that led to a funny part. Both of them lead to a funny part. Did you notice that? Because after the nail thing, she's yelling at the kid and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then the next part, she's outside the manor. She pulls this iron rod out of the gate, and she's going through, but she's not quite skinny enough, and she's cutting herself. And when I mean cutting herself, the gate is like it shows it. It's like digging into her deep, like probably a good half inch to an inch deep.
Yeah,
it was.
That was some good special effect,
dude. It was hard for me to watch.
Yeah,
it looked real. And she comes out, and then there's a car there, and the car won't stop. And they're like, get out of the road. She's like, I hate you, rich sons of bitch. She just goes into a chariot. So I feel like both times that they had like a super like disgusting scene, if you will, they followed them with humor to kind of like break the moment.
Yeah,
exactly. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that quite a bit. There was a lot of cool humor in the movie. So did you have anything going into the end? What did you notice? Did you want to throw in there? Because there's a couple other things, but I want to toss it over to you for a minute.
Yeah, I knew what was going to happen with the husband ahead of time. That's where You're Next really, kind of hit home. with me. You know I saw
the
that
Alex
coming.
character. Okay,
I saw that coming.
First of all, the Daniel character, which was played by Brody.
Oh, Adam Brody. Yeah.
The Daniel character, which is not the husband, by the way. Contrary to what it looks like,
husband's brother.
What it looks like in the trailer, it's not. Adam Brody is the brother of the husband. Alex is the husband, and Adam Brody is amazing in this movie.
Yeah, he was as close. Did you ever watch the OC back in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was on that. That's where he really kind of got his big breakout role, and he reminded me a lot of that character.
He was also in Scream 4.
Yes,
because he's the buddy cop.
He's the buddy cop. Yeah, and he was good in that too.
He died in that too.
Yes, he did. But he did remind me a lot of the Seth Cohen character a little bit, but much more grown up and just an absolute drunken mess.
I mean, Samara Weaving is definitely the heart and soul of this movie and is amazing.
Absolutely.
And she's amazing. She's amazing. I love her performance. Best thing in this movie. Adam Brody's second.
Oh, absolutely.
Adam Brody was great. Now, mind you, there was a lot of cool acting in this movie, man.
Yeah, there was.
Father. The guy who plays the father is great.
Oh, yeah.
I know he doesn't have a long list of accomplishments, but his comedic timing was great. As things just keep failing and he's just hilarious about it, I love it. Every time he throws a fit, he's like, oh, this is gonna, and he's just going, and she's like, calm down, honey. His wife's like, calm down. And he's just
played by Andy McDowell.
Yeah, Andy McDowell was the wife.
Hadn't seen her in anything in a long time.
She was great too.
Yeah, she was. The professor kept looking at me throughout this movie and I don't know how many times, God, she's hot. God, she's hot. Oh, she's so hot.
Oh, man. But anyway, she was really good in this movie.
Yeah,
but
she was.
The husband, her husband, the father.
Yeah.
Oh, man. His comedic timing. Like I said, I looked at his IMDb. He's not been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
man, they should book him in more stuff.
The only thing I ever saw him in, he was in a movie in the mid-2000s with Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy, Just Married.
Oh, okay,
he was actually
yeah.
Brittany Murphy's snooty father in that. He kind of played a similar role. But
but he was super good in this.
Yeah, he was amazing.
I enjoyed him in this. I enjoyed him in this a lot. So the acting in this movie was great all the way. So to be like, hey, but Samara Weaving definitely above, and she should be in everything.
She really should. And after The Babysitter on Netflix, I was sold on her right from the start.
I liked her in The Babysitter. I dug it, but I think this took her acting to another level.
Oh, it did take it to another level.
Amazing. And
but I knew in that
physical.
Role she was going to be great.
She was very physical. I mean, the wedding dress stuff where she keeps using the wedding dress as a weapon and everything else is so good. Like I said, Adam Brody was great in this. So it's really a story about Alex. So Alex is trying to save her for the first, most of the movie. He breaks into the thing, and that's how she gets outside because he turns off the locks to the doors, and he's really looks like he's trying to save his wife. And but it came in. There was part of it that I started to catch on about, and I can't take full credit for this because I did listen to the Dead Meat podcast, which those guys are going to be at ScareCon as well. James A. Janice and his girlfriend Chelsea Rebecca, they will be there. So I'm just going to give them a shout out because they made this point, and I thought about it. I was thinking the same thing, so I kind of want to give them credit because they put it into words as well. If you listen, and I caught on to this earlier in the movie, so when he first grabs her, you see the maid get killed, and then they go into the servants' hallways,
right?
The secret hallways. And when they're in there, and she's like, "Why wouldn't you tell me?" And he was like, "Well, you would have left me." So I'm like, "Wow, it's all about him." And then his mother comes in and talks to him while he's cuffed to the bed after, whatever it is, they've captured her, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, if you do anything, I'll kill you. And she's like, well, you're going to choose somebody you've known for 18 months over your family who's known you forever. And he admits there in that room that, he was starting to feel like, sacrificing goats. This is how we found out they were sacrifices. Sacrificing goats and killing things was, the enchanting devil was normal. He felt like he was enjoying it or whatnot. And it's like, damn, man, this is going to go some way. So they catch her, and we're going to go into the finish because, there's so much more we could talk about, but it was just really good. But let's, for sake of time and everything, going into the finish, because this is probably my favorite part of this movie. You have, she gets captured pretty much by Adam Brody's character, Daniel.
Right.
He hits her with the butt of a rifle. They bring her in finally after she's tried to escape many times and gotten away. It's pretty cool. So they come in and she's tied to this pentagram table with a thing over her mouth, and and they're performing this ritual, if you will. And the whole movie, Daniel's character has been like, man, I don't want to be a part of this. At one point in juncture, he says to his sister right before they find her son who got knocked out after shooting her in the hand, he says to his sister, like, maybe we do deserve to die. Maybe if the curse is real, we deserve to die. And then she's like, but my kids don't. And then when the kid tells her he shot her in the hand, and his mother's like, oh, you did such a great job. Daniel gives this look like, man, this is not good.
Right.
This kid's going to be like me, because he gave away the husband in the beginning.
Right.
When he was a child. He's like, man, this kid's going to grow up to be like me, and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm a F up, and all that stuff. And so you go into the ceremony, and you're like, man, she's done for. This is it. Man, they're going to kill her, which I'm like, damn, I was hoping they wouldn't. And then he doesn't come down with a dagger because everybody's puking up blood because Daniel poisoned the stuff that they were drinking. Not enough to kill them, just enough to make them sick so he could get her off the thing and then give them a really bad case of the shits, as he points out, for about a week. And then his greedy wife ends up killing him.
Yeah.
Like, as he's getting out, he has the bride out, and he's like standing in front of her. He's trying to talk some sense to his wife, and his wife just shoots him in the neck.
Yep.
And that's how, well, he bleeds out and everything. His brother gets free, and he comes down and sees him, and he dies in his arms anyways. But like it's real. So at this point in juncture, there's no more bullets in the gun. The bride pistol whips the Daniel's wife. Then she bumps into the father for one more comedic timing from the father, when he's just like, you are nothing but a sacrifice. You know what? The hell with the table. I'm just going to finish it myself. And then she comes upside his head with a vase, which is really cool. And then it leads to the mother and the bride.
Right.
And the mother had said before that she really liked her, but, she has to protect her family. And, so they get into it. Looks like she's going to kill her by choking her, and she clocks her. And then she gets the card box, and she beats the mother's face in. They don't show too much as she's doing it, except for blood flying. But then,
you see the after effects.
Oh, I was going to say. But then, if you thought that they were going to just do it off screen, oh no, they show the after effects. And boy, was the makeup job great.
Yeah.
She looked mangled.
Yeah.
I mean, this box looks pretty heavy and stuff. So, needless to say, her son, Alex, the husband, walks in as she's finishing, like, beating her to death. Because, I mean, she came down on her like 10 times with that box. Like, overkill. Like, the bitch was dead. She just overkilled her. And he comes in, and that's where you get the point, where he goes, well, after this, you won't want, once again, and this is where I give them credit, because I was thinking the same thing, but they put it better words, but it's just like, he says, after this, you won't want to be with me. Once again, being about him. And then she grabs her, and the next thing you know, they're trying to hold her down, and it's almost dawn, and they're going for the ritual. She kind of tugs to the side. He hits her in the shoulder with a knife. She rolls off the table, pulls the knife out, and she's sitting there like a wild animal almost. Like, she's so traumatized, but she's just grunting and like stabbing towards people as they come near. And that's where Aunt Helene opens up the curtains to reveal it's sunlight. It's dawn. And they all kind of drop and cringe like vampires. The best part. By the way, the Fitch, the husband of the sister, the coked out sister, Fitch, who throughout the movie is amazingly funny. He is the funniest when he's cringing. He's like, and he's like overreacting.
It looks like a vampire movie, like in a vampire comedy when the sun comes up.
Oh, it's great. And then nothing happens. And then Fitch like stands up. He's like, I told you this was bullshit. And then they're all just standing there, and she's still like looking psychotic. The bride is. And they're like, well, I think we still have to kill her because she's going to tell on us, obviously. And so Aunt Helene goes crazy, though. She's like, oh, I won't ever fail you again, talking about Mr. LaBelle. Oh, I will never kill you again.
Who we still haven't seen at this point. It's just an empty chair.
An empty chair. But we've been told that Alex, when he was a kid, had seen him.
Right.
Only person who has seen him, allegedly, in the chair. Because the father doesn't believe it. Aunt Helene believes it, but the father doesn't. So Aunt Helene picks up her battle axe. She pulls it back. She's coming at the bride. It looks like, she's going to kill her. And then she explodes.
Blood everywhere.
Blood
just
everywhere.
Explodes.
Like, when I mean explode, blood everywhere.
Just spontaneously
by the way,
combusts.
it is equal parts gory and equal parts hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, it is a fun scene. Then the wife of Daniel, who killed Daniel, she's like, oh, and she starts saying, and then she explodes. Like, mind you, they all take time to explode. Then the sister and the two kids run out of the room, and you hear 3 explosions and blood just everywhere. And then Fitch explodes. And then the father explodes. So it leaves Alex and the bride. And Alex walks up.
Now, meanwhile, as these explosions are happening, the bride is standing there laughing hysterically to the point where she's snorting.
Yeah, and
one of the funniest things that happens in the whole movie.
And she's covered in some of this blood because the blood and visceral is hitting her.
Oh, yeah.
From all these people. And she is laughing, and like you said, snorting. So then Alex says something to her, and she's laughing when he first starts talking to her. And he's like, we can make it work, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I'm being spared for a reason. She takes off the ring, and she just goes, I want a divorce, and throws the ring at him. And as soon as the ring hits him, he explodes. And then to have it even funny, and then she sits there and laughs some more and snorts a couple real deep ones, and she's got blood in her mouth. And remember, she looks like she's tasting, and she's just like, like kind of like whatever. But she can't care anymore. She looks over at the chair, and we get the faint Mr. LaBelle. He kind of like appears, gives her the nod, and disappears just as quickly, and she just goes, "Fuck." And she walks away because obviously he gave her the nod, like, yeah, you're good to go.
You're good.
Good job. You messed these people up. So she goes into the room where she killed the mother, and she grabs her cigarette case.
It wasn't even her. She didn't smoke.
No, well, she did in the beginning of the movie. Remember, she smokes in the scene when Alex comes in to check on her.
I thought that she didn't smoke.
No,
I thought it was the mother's case.
It was the mother's case. She told the mother she didn't smoke when the mother offered her a cigarette. She said, "Oh, I don't smoke," but she did in the room.
I didn't
with
catch
Alex.
it in the beginning.
Yeah. She did, and then that's why she goes and grabs the mother's case. She literally, so the movie ends like the house caught on fire while they're doing the ceremony. The house was on fire the whole time. So now the fire is just more. You hear the sirens coming. She walks outside. She's all disheveled. Walks outside, sits down, lights a cigarette, smokes as firemen and cops are running by her. Cops are talking to her, and she's just smoking this cigarette. Like that is how the movie ends. Perfect ending.
Yeah.
Perfect ending. I was worried that they were going to kill the bride.
I was afraid because she was part of the family that she was going to explode too. You know, she
Mr. LaBelle Mr. LaBelle was a fan of her job.
He was a fan of her work, all right.
So
I'll tell you, this movie, you know, I know how you said you wouldn't give a 10 out of 10, and I haven't ever given one either. I think the closest things to a perfect movie would be The Exorcist and maybe the original Black Christmas. Halloween, close for me, but because of some of the dialogue, that's what keeps it, you know, from being perfect. This is one of the closest, you know, one of the movies that's as close to perfect as I've ever seen in terms of a horror movie. It became a horror movie. I thought it was going to be a dark comedy the whole time, and it was a horror movie.
I was going to say it was equal parts dark comedy, equal parts horror. Like it was equal parts. It was great. And
it was fantastic.
So coming into the $1 million question here as we finish up with the sequel thing, as you can see, the movie kind of was a nice little package together.
Yeah.
So the only way I think you could do a sequel is if you're telling about another family, because because they make reference that another family had like, they're like, oh, didn't they die in a fire? He's like, oh no, it's much worse than that. He's like, that's just what the news said, that's just what the news said or whatever.
Yeah.
So another family, so there was more than one box. So Mr. LaBelle had made multiple deals with multiple rich, successful families. So the only way you could do a sequel, I would believe, is to have another rich, successful family, kind of the same premise.
Right. And I don't know that it would hit the same way that this did. It might be okay, but you're going to know what to expect. You'd have to have another game that's got some kind of hilarious,
Well, the problem is that if you have another movie like this, like you said, you know what to expect. You can only be original once.
Right.
And that's why I think this movie's so good, because it was original. This in a day and age where everything's a remake, a reboot, a reimagining, a story that's based on another story. You know, it's just a, homogenized same shit we've seen over and over again. Whether it's good or bad or indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. This story was new. It was different.
Oh yeah.
I have not seen something with the same premise.
Right. Hollywood cannot make an original movie, and these guys nailed it. I don't know who came up with this idea, who was sitting there thinking,
Although Samara Weaving is got to have something with the devil, because 2 of her movies straight on with the devil. She's a Satan worshiper in the Babysitter, and now she's surviving Satan pretty much in Ready or Not. So she's hitting home runs with the devil,
and she's great. I mean, this is somebody to watch for. I want her to be a scream queen, and it seems like that's what it's going to be. But she's got chops.
Oh,
she's going to be a good actress no matter what she does. Great British actress. Her father, of course, is the great Hugo Weaving, who was Mr. Smith in the Agent Smith. Excuse me.
Sorry, yes.
In the
Matrix movies.
In the Matrix movies.
We're getting Matrix 4. We just found that out this past week.
Yeah, we did find that.
Lana Wachowski.
I know.
I got to be honest. I still find it weird that it used to be the Wachowski brothers and now it's the Wachowski siblings.
Right.
It's just weird. I don't care.
I don't care either.
I just thought it was weird because it's like, and
maybe she'll be a part of it. Maybe Samara Weaving will be a part of it.
Maybe. I mean, there was a rumor that Michael B. Jordan was going to be a part of it. So you never know. But we know that Keanu Reeves and Moss are both back.
Yeah.
So we got our 2 major characters back. So
right.
We can go from there. I know we're not going to really do a podcast about the Matrix, but there you go.
Right.
Got a little bonus there. No, I'm a fan. I thought that, actually, if you go into that, the Wachowskis had an amazing movie from hell. The Johnny Depp, they directed from
I didn't realize that.
The Johnny Depp Jack the Ripper movie.
story.
Actually, I love that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Some people are very hard on it.
I didn't love it. I thought it was okay.
I loved it. I thought it's my favorite Jack the Ripper movie. Because I feel like it goes in depth. I mean, obviously, they even say it's just theory. It's nothing that they're proposing was real. It's a fictional account of a conspiracy theory, which is fine. But it was great. Johnny Depp does a great job in the movie, and I really like it. So that's more of a horror edge for the Wachowskis.
Right.
Throwing it out there. Bring it
there we go.
But the Ready or Not, great movie. Great movie. I can't say enough about it. Like I said, I just take my money. The movie's great.
I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna say this is one of the best horror movies ever made. I'm gonna put it up there. If I was doing another top list, I don't know. I mean, we're talking. This is amongst the greats, but this is easily top 15 greatest horror movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
I'm going to go that far.
Wow.
This movie was effing amazing.
I'm not saying it's not shitting on it. Maybe I could probably put it in my top 20-25. I would say if you're talking about more comedic performances like your dark horror movies or your dark comedy horror movies, I would say this is probably my favorite dark horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Idle Hands earlier, which is really fun and tongue-in-cheek, but that's more comedic than it is horror. This actually has a horror element to it.
And I put this up there with Behind the Mask at this point. I think that one might still be, I might like that one a little bit more.
I think Behind the Mask would be number 1. This would be number 2 if you ask me right now. As far as a horror movie with comedy in it.
Right. Maybe Shaun of the Dead, maybe number 3. I don't know.
Yeah, this might have definitely surpassed Shaun of the Dead. But like, it's hard for me to put it in just a straight horror context because there's so many great horror movies. But you know what? I would dare say top 25 easy. Without trying to do it, it might break the top 20.
Yeah.
I might be exact.
I'd have to see my list again because I've done this before. I've done a big list like this, but I would have to say it would have to be in my top 15. I don't know if it would crack the top 10. I'd have to see it again, but top 15 for me.
I would say it would probably. I would guarantee it without going into a list right now. I guarantee it's in the top 25, and I would dare say it's probably in the top 20 easy. I don't know if it might be in the top 15 for me, but I can't off the top of my head guarantee that.
Right.
I can definitely guarantee it's in the top 25, and I can give you the probability it's in the top 20 of all time.
Right.
And that's good enough, pretty much. But
out of all the horror movies that have ever been made?
I might have to go through and make the list again, and then I can get a spot. But yeah, out of 25 for sure. And if you're in the top 25 out of the hundreds of horror movies I've literally watched in my lifetime, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So I like this movie a lot. It was really fun. It was really good.
It was better than Boar.
Oh, of course. But Boar was what it was.
Right. We just got to get our Boar in there for the week.
Man, and Boar was what it was. I mean, it was definitely better than Freddy's Dead.
Yeah. That's twice. That's twice.
Comedic horror movies, Freddy's Dead, used to reign supreme. I can't even say that with a straight face. I couldn't even say it with a straight face.
Yeah.
I tried to convince you of it, but no.
Anyways,
it was great. It's a great movie. Go see it. Obviously, if you listen to this, I hope you already saw it. If you didn't and you were on the fence, I hope that gets you to see it. It was really good. Original story. It was equal parts. I hate calling it a dark comedy for the reason that it was equal parts horror and equal parts comedy, but you can't outlast the comedy because the comedy was great.
Oh,
like it was a funny ass. When it was funny, it was super funny. It was a comedy movie when it was a comedy movie. When it was a horror movie, it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the ending was a little fun.
All the right points.
The ending reminded me of Django. Yes, I know. I said Django instead of Django. I always like to say Django because, of course, Sam Jackson said it best in that movie. Damn you, Django! But if you remember the end of Django Unchained, when there's like just a bloodbath in that last scene, that is what the last scene of this movie is.
Yeah, this was definitely bloody. It was surprising.
It wasn't quite as bloody as Django because there was a lot more bodies in that one, but it was on par. It was pretty damn bloody.
Although the Alex character, I saw that coming, I did not see the rest of it coming. At least not in the way that it did.
No.
The way that they wrote that, so good.
And there was other great moments in the movie. There wasn't a super high body count, but it didn't need it. It really didn't.
An entire family got wiped out.
Right, but I mean, it wasn't a super high body count.
No. I mean, there wasn't 60 people.
But that was at the end of the movie.
Right.
I'm just saying, like throughout the movie, there was only I think
there had to be at least 10 people that died.
Well, no, you had the three.
Well, if you're talking about the whole family,
you had the three. Well, no, you had the three maids. I'm talking about before the end sequence.
And by the way, that's the banter with the family about the maids.
Yes, and each one was a different one's favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my favorite.
Oh, that was my favorite.
Yeah. So before the finish of that movie, before the finale, you had the three maids over the portion that died. You had the butler, who was a real asshole.
Yeah, he was.
Real asshole.
That guy was great, too.
Glad he died. You had Daniel, because it was before. He died technically before that scene. That was it. You had 5 deaths coming into the final scene. And then final scene, you had the 3, 6, 7. So you had 7 in the final scene.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but outside of this, I'm just saying the body count wasn't like slasher levels.
I don't know. A lot of those movies, a lot of Friday the 13th movies, it's usually about 7 to 10 people that get killed.
But think about it. The people who died, there was only a handful that died. Nobody who died menacingly. Everybody was really kind of a comedic, except for the
right.
And Daniel, because you felt bad that he died.
Right.
So other than that, the 3 maids were just comedic relief. And but even the end, even that end where there's 7 of them and explode. It's
hearing
funny.
you say that.
It's funny.
Oh,
it
man,
came
it was
across
great.
as funny because especially when you're watching her and she is just so far gone.
She's just cracking
laughing.
up.
She thinks it's the greatest thing ever. And I thought it was funny too. I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, with their last words, most of them were hilarious too.
In the theater, the place was rolling as that was happening. Yeah. Everybody in that theater was dying.
That's why it's a comedy, because I don't look. That's the comedic parts that were good.
Right.
So it's equal parts. I still love the movie, no matter how you cut it. So with that being said, that finishes our review of our spoiler and non-spoiler review, if you will, of Ready or Not. We liked the movie so much we wanted to talk more about it. So thank you guys for listening. Let me go through roll call real quick before we get out of here. Of course, once again, if you want to comment on Ready or Not or anything we discussed or anything you would like us to talk about, hit us up on the social medias. Horror Zone 607 on Facebook, at Horror Zone 607 on Twitter. Use the hashtag HZ607 to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Also, visit us on 8122productions.com, where you can stream and download our shows from there. Also, you can find all sorts of stuff, reviews and everything else, and also check out other 8122 Productions products, that I'm a part of as well. 3 Fat Nerds Podcast and 3FN Wrestling to help us out. Also, while you're there, you can go friends of the show and follow the link to take you to our friends over at the ODPH, the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. Check those guys out. They're very entertaining as well, as they talk about sports and entertainment as well. So check everybody out. We're one big hashtag 607 podcast family. We got a couple appearances coming up. I'm not going to give you the whole deets because you heard the commercials. But September 20th and 29th, me and Mike C will both be taking place at RoberCon. We're doing the 8122 Productions /3 Fat Nerds panel. Mike will be an honorary 3 Fat Nerd, even though you're not fat.
I'm getting there.
You're not close. Not compared.
I feel a little chubby.
Not compared to the other 3 of us.
Did these pants make me look fat?
No, we discussed this on the 3 Fat Nerds podcast. You are definitely the heartthrob of the 8122 Productions.
Shucks.
Just throwing that out there.
Shucks.
I mean, but that's also like, never mind. We can't tell that joke here. I'll tell you that joke off the air because I don't want to get in trouble.
That's fine.
That's the reason we need Patreon, I guess. So we'll be doing that. Me and Mike C will be there both. Then, of course, you heard the advertisement for October 4th and 5th at the Oneonta Foothills Performing Arts Center in Oneonta, New York. Sci-Fi Horror Fest. Get your tickets at sci-fi-horrorfest.com. And of course, October 18th, 19th, and 20th, we will be in Rochester, New York at the Rochester Riverside Hotel for Scaricon. Get your tickets. Go to scaricon.com. Once again, there was commercials in place, so I'm not going to go through the whole spiel. As we get closer, we'll definitely be excited because we're excited for all those. Well,
Absolutely.
we're excited for those events, period. And there'll be more we're adding. So come check us out. That's all I got, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Rich. It's been a fun show, as always. So thanks for being here with me. And thank you, the listeners, for checking us out every single week. We really appreciate you guys downloading and listening to our show. Don't forget, as Rich said, check out the other shows that are part of the 8122 Productions. Of course, 3 Fat Nerds Wrestling, and our friends over at the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. Ken M., thanks for everything you do, buddy. We really appreciate you, as well as everybody else that's on the show. So come back next week. We'll be talking a lot more horror. We'll be giving you the biggest news of the week, and we'll be having a lot of fun doing it. Talk to you later, guys. See ya.